Panther people, what is up? All right, thanks for clicking on the Panther Post. I'm Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining us. Hey, if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit up the community in the comments. It is super dope. That is the one thing I keep hearing from people, that it is such a great community here on the Panthers Post. No negativity here unless you're cheering for the Falcons, Saints, or Seahawks. Also, shouts for just clicking on this and searching for Carolina Panthers on YouTube, because the season is still more than 4 months away. So if you're searching Carolina Panthers and you found us and you decided to click it, that means you're hardcore like us. So the rookies embarked on their first practice, more like a run-through, as members of the Carolina Panthers, leading the way, already setting the tone as who are the leaders of this draft class. It's J.C. Horn, who's picked 8th overall out of South Carolina, and his fellow Gamecocks in Shi Smith and J.T. Ebay, who was picked up during free agency as potentially one of the safeties who could work in the back of the defensive zone with Jeremy Chin. And the Panthers released the numbers the rookies are going to be rocking during these rookie mini training camps. J.C. Horn, as we know, is opting for number 8 to shout out the late and great Kobe Bryant. Chuba Hubbard rocking number 30. Shi Smith rocking number 12, which we all know is DJ Moore's normal number, but it looks like DJ is looking to switch it up a little bit. Even in the Panthers media release, it says at this point, DJ Moore also wears 12, but I could see him switching back to his college number, which is number 2. He's worn number 1 before as well, so I could see DJ doing that. I'm not going to try to break down what happened during practice. Just notice some things and could make sense as to why the guys were drafted where they were drafted. Damn, J.C. Horn is a big dude. Not just for a corner, just a big guy. I noticed that during his pro days. In this case, for a cornerback, he was jacked. He was just a sturdy dude. Dude took his vitamins. Dude ate the right amount of protein that his dad, I'm sure, measured out for him. Davion Nixon rocking F.A. Obada's number 94. Obviously, didn't really show much, but we just see just how gigantic he is. And then when you couple his size with his athleticism that we've seen in his time in Iowa, this dude is definitely worth keeping an eye on. I can see him being way more than just a rotational guy in his rookie year.
I can't be like the cheerleader on the sideline anymore, screaming like, "Oh, that's Shaq Thomas." You know, you gotta be focused on the game and just know that these guys, the vets, they're not trying to lose their spot to anybody, any rookies.
Chuba Hubbard showing that he is that dual threat running back that he showed off over at Oklahoma State. Also, you can tell, I'm not making a stereotype that it's always cold in Canada. I will admit it's about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. We use Celsius here. It's about 20 degrees Celsius here. I'm rocking a sweatshirt. Not gonna lie, getting a little moist right now. But you can tell that he was feeling that Charlotte heat. That, or he was just feeling himself. He is rocking the old mid-'80s, early 90s roll-up jersey, showing the abs. I was about to say gut, but that'd just be me projecting. #dadbod. But he's looking like he could very well be the second running back in this running back depth chart. We're going to touch on that quickly later on in the show. Also, Tommy Tremble, the rookie tight end out of Notre Dame, who was seen primarily as a run-blocking tight end / fullback type piece for the Fighting Irish. But you can see, I know it's just tiny little clips, but he was catching a lot of passes, a lot of over-the-shoulder passes, some seam routes, and just a skill that he had never been asked to display with Notre Dame. And it looks like, judging from what Rhule and everyone has said during the draft, that they see him as a catching and blocking tight end. Speaking of blocking, rookie, potentially left tackle of the future, Brady Christensen out of BYU was, blocking stuff, wearing a helmet, no pads, looked cool. But there was some video of Brady Christensen and Tommy Tremble doing some run blocking together. And you can just imagine those two guys, plus Deontay Brown, who is a mountain of a man, #team neckroll, also David Moore, who we're going to touch on as well, just rushing over to one side and just making gigantic holes for either Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, or Ronnie Bonifant.
Just coming off that one double team, I mean, I felt him.
Shi Smith, definitely fully healthy, and the dude looked good. Obviously catching on air again. I don't want anyone to actually think that I'm breaking this down thinking he's going to be a superstar right off the bat, but guy looked good. I don't think I've ever seen this before, ever, in any professional sport. David Newton out of ESPN, their Carolina Panthers beat reporter, was trying to ask like a football question with Matt Rhule. I think it was just right off the top as well in terms of media availability. And Rhule did something I've never seen a coach do.
David, I wanted to ask you a couple questions on Terrace Marshall. One, it seems that LSU used to be known as a cornerback
I don't know what was in that cup, but whatever it was, to Rhule, it was way too hot. And he is definitely pulling that all-time dad move. You get the coffee to go, you take the lid off, you let it breathe, you let the hot air just dissipate in the atmosphere. But it wasn't just the fact that he was doing that. Dude was blowing hard into the mic. So you couldn't even hear David Newton's question itself.
Marshall, one, it seems that LSU used to be known as a...
What is Matt Rhule's hot drink of choice? Dude is an Energizer Bunny. He is jacked up. He's running on 1.21 gigawatts of energy. Does he need coffee? Is he a coffee guy? I wonder. Was that like a double espresso, triple espresso, an Americano? Was it just straight black drip coffee? I see him being that kind of guy. Maybe he needs to calm down. He needs to bring his energy level down, especially when speaking with the media. Maybe it was some herbal tea, some chamomile tea perhaps. Definitely not green tea. Maybe some jasmine tea, some lavender tea. Maybe he's kind of with it with the hipsters. Perhaps it was just hot water with apple cider vinegar, you know? Keep that gut flat. Not saying you have a gut coach. You always hear NFL draft analysts talk about how the coaches in the NFL that are given responsibility of coaching one of the teams during the Senior Bowl is huge because you actually get to see the players in practice. And it really meant a lot during this pandemic year. There was no combine. Pro days were weird. You couldn't really go face-to-face with players, but you can't help but be face-to-face when you're coaching them. And you can tell who the Panthers drafted this year, that a bunch of those guys were on the Senior Bowl, whether it was on their specific team or on the other team. It paid off.
There's a couple guys out there that were in the Senior Bowl. So they're, I'm watching like Deontay Brown and David Moore working with Pat Meyer, and they've already had him, just 2 months ago. So now to have him again well before training camp, I think it just puts us light years ahead.
Rhule also talked about one of the undrafted free agent offensive linemen that they picked up in David Moore, who many thought would actually get drafted in the later rounds. He went to Grambling State, which is a historically black college, and heading into Mobile, where David Moore was playing for the first time in years, as in football. Dude wasn't playing football for well over a year, but before they headed out to Mobile, Trent Scott, who also went to Grambling State, I don't know about you guys, I was about to say Travis Scott like a million times when I was trying to say Trent Scott. Dropped a couple nuggets with Rhule and his staff that they're going to like this dude who he used to play with. And guess what? He was right.
I think he was pretty much everyone on our team, one of our favorite guys. I mean, just he had a great attitude. This is a guy that went to the Senior Bowl and hadn't played since the previous, Thanksgiving. So had gone almost a year and 2 or 3 months, in between playing. And, at the end of the day, this is a performance-based business. Pat Meyer worked with him all week, said, hey, he can do it.
As I mentioned before, J.C. Horn and Keith Taylor are not your prototypical, what we used to see, 5'9", 5'10" corners. No disrespect, Dante Jackson, but they are gigantic human beings. And Matt Rhule talked about not just how length plays a part in their vision of defense, but also their physicality.
He's a physical player at that size, so he can, support the run, which, you think of cornerbacks in the NFL as being cover guys, but, most offenses are designed to block everyone else and make the corner make the tackle. So he's going to bring on a sense of physicality. And I think when you look across the field at Taylor, he's the same thing. at 6'3.5", 6'4".
I was just listening to WFNZ, and Mac Attack had someone from PFF kind of break down the Panthers draft. There are still people doing that right now. And the one knock you just keep hearing people say is the fact that J.C. Horn is a press corner, not a zone corner. And the Panthers do zone, and then how J.C. Horn doesn't fit into that philosophy. Guess what? The best part of being a head coach is you change. You're supposed to be adaptable. What does Matt Rhule always talk about? You have to be versatile. And guess what? I'm pretty sure he expects that from his coaches, whether it's on the offense or defensive side. So if J.C. Horn is on, dude's a press corner, they either have him play press or they coach him up. That's what they get paid millions of dollars to do. Fan favorite on the offensive line is going to be David Moore out of Grambling State. Not the fact that also, he's an undrafted free agent. People always love the underdog. But the guy's got he's got kind eyes. I don't know how to say it. Kind of got like a singer's voice as well. Kind of melodic.
I weighed in at 327. So 327, dropping weight, trying to get, got to get right,
Another reason why David Moore might be a fan and media favorite, he's a dog guy.
Do you have a dog at home?
I actually do have a dog at home. I have a pit mixed with a lab, and I had to name him after the great Kobe Bryant, so his name is Kobe.
So a couple episodes ago, we broke down the depth chart in the QB room. It's a little bit more crowded in the running back room, and we already know who's going to be number one. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey. Guy, as we mentioned, we know 1,000 times now. He had an injury-plagued season last year. In a way, I think that was a blessing in disguise because it seemed to be a bit of a transition/throwaway year. You wouldn't want to put Christian at risk of hurting himself long-term. That would last more than just last year. And then for what? I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's going to be motivated. I think he already came into this league, people doubting his durability. Because you take a look at some of those early games, early years with the Panthers, when Cam was still chucking him the ball, he was big. Like, he can definitely kick my ass. But compared to the way he is now, he was quite slight. 1B, no disrespect to Ronnie Bonifant, but Chuba Hubbard is an elite running back. He led the country in rushing in 2019. 2020, I'm not even going to look at. Experts are saying that the Panthers drafted him off the 2019 tape itself. Matt Rhule even talked about it. His wife even talked about it. He could be that 1A, 1B hit with Christian McCaffrey. He can make the offense look less predictable because, again, no disrespect to Mike Davis, maybe because you play with the Falcons now. But while he did a serviceable job filling in for Christian McCaffrey last year, you saw him back there and you didn't really think he was much of a receiving threat. He could be a screen threat, but out there in the middle of the field, Christian McCaffrey was seen by some people during his draft year as having the best wide receiver workout. Forget a running back. Chuba Hubbard, while maybe not as fluid and lizard-like as Christian McCaffrey, Chuba can catch the ball out of the field and make something happen. So for me, I think he's going to be the number 2 back. On the depth chart would be Reggie Bonifant. He showed some flashes during the preseason last year, but the fact that he couldn't really hold the backup role and hold off Mike Davis when Christian McCaffrey went down last year shows that he's probably not going to be the second guy. He could be a third down back. He could also contribute to special teams. Basically, everyone else in the running back room are going to be special teams guys. 2 other running backs joining the Panthers in camp, Mikey Daniel and Darius Clark. We'll see what happens with these guys, but best case scenario, they could be depth pieces. They could be special teams guys, some gunners for kickoff and punt. Spencer Brown, Trenton Cannon, 2 other running backs. Again, not going to expect too much. These are all depth guys. These are guys on special teams. So again, Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, Reggie Bonifant. That's it for this episode of the Panthers Post. Again, if you've clicked this and you're new to the community, make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. If you're going to be going to any of these Roaring Ride takeovers and you're going to go to Buffalo, try to find me. I'm going to try to wear this. It's going to be in mid to late December, so it's going to be cold. You're going to want to layer up. For you guys who aren't new, thank you for your continued support. Draft weekend was awesome. It drove up our subscriptions and also our viewership. And of course, there's going to be a bit of a dip. That's no biggie. The fact that you guys are still clicking in after the draft. This is kind of that no man's land type situation. We're getting excited about numbers and how good people look in notepads running around the field. But I appreciate your continued support. I'm loving this. The season is going to be so much fun. It's about 4 months away. And so I just hope that we can continue to build this community so we can all enjoy this season together. Follow us on Twitter at Panthers Post. Number 1, for Cam, he's coming home. In a different uniform, but he's coming home. You know what I mean. But yes, thanks for watching. See you guys next week.